In order to please his secretary, the CEO husband gave all the honors that originally belonged to me to her at the company's annual meeting. During the New Year's Eve dinner, my mother-in-law ordered me to quit the company and give my position to her goddaughter Esme. I disagreed, but my husband overturned the dining table. I was hospitalized with burns, but my husband's family said I was being pretentious. It was not until the day I was discharged from the hospital that Silas Shun called me and asked me if I knew I was wrong. I sent him the divorce agreement and said, "My dad said I should be the CEO." Silas Shun presented Esme with an honorary award. I was shaking with anger. This is not the first time that Silas Shun asked me to give up the honor that belongs to me to Esme, but now I was pregnant and didn't want to argue with him, so I just endured it. But when it came to the New Year's Eve dinner, they went even further. Just because Esme wanted to eat hot pot, the original stir-fried dishes turned into this red hot pot soup. As a pregnant woman, I couldn't even put down my chopsticks. My husband and his family enjoyed the meal happily. Silas Shun filled Esme's bowl with food before noticing the empty bowl in front of me. "Nova, why don't you eat? Didn't you keep saying you were hungry on the way back?" "I'm 3 months pregnant. Our child was hard one. The doctor told me not to eat anything too spicy." "Hubby, why don't you go cook me a bowl of noodles?" As soon as my mother-in-law heard me ordering her son to do something, her face changed immediately. "It's just a pregnancy. Is it necessary to be so hypocritical? If you don't want to eat this or that, our Shun family won't serve you." When I was pregnant with Silas Shun, I worked in the fields until I gave birth. After my mother-in-law finished speaking, she looked at me with contempt. "However, I'll cook for my sister-in-law, but it may not suit her appetite." Esme finished speaking and was about to get up and go to the kitchen, but was stopped by her mother-in-law. You are not allowed to go. She can eat or not." I caught a glimpse of the smug look that flashed across Esme's eyes out of the corner of my eye. "Silas Shun, you are not allowed to go either. Don't spoil her." Silas Shun, who had already stood up. Silas Shun is a mama's boy who obeys his mother's orders. He looked at me with a helpless look on his face, then sat down and continued eating his hot pot. "I have been married into the Shun family for 3 years, and my mother-in-law has never liked me. The reason I married him was because he loved me enough. In order not to embarrass him, I endured it again and again. But since Esme came back from studying abroad and joined the company, his attitude towards me has gradually changed. Today is New Year's Day and I didn't want to make things too embarrassing, so I suppressed my anger and walked into the kitchen. I cooked noodles and came to the table. My mother-in-law spoke again. "Since you are pregnant now, I don't think it is necessary for you to go to work. When you go out to work, take care of Yu more often. Once she is familiar with the company, let Yu take the position of manager." I put down my chopsticks and looked at my mother-in-law in disbelief, unable to understand why she could say such a thing. Seeing that I didn't say anything for a long time, my mother-in-law got angry immediately. "Why, don't you want to? Yu is an international student. She is definitely more capable than you as a manager. Esme's major is not design." The reason I agreed to let her join the design department was because Silas Shun kept nagging me. I reluctantly agreed after realizing I had no other choice. Esme joined the company. She acted superior and had mediocre qualifications. She was not cut out for design at all. "Mom, I don't agree with this." When my mother-in-law saw that I didn't listen to her arrangements, she stood up angrily and pointed her finger at me and scolded, "Jiang Nova, you have to understand that in this family, I have the final say, but in the company, I have the final say." I did not show any weakness and directly fought back. The mother-in-law was so angry that she was out of breath. She covered her chest with her hands and began to whimper and act pitifully. "Oh my, this is so unfair. This is really outrageous. The daughter-in-law can even ride on the head of the mother-in-law. This is not the first time that my mother-in-law has cried like this in front of me, but it always works." Silas Shun stood up and overturned the table. The boiling hot pot soup spilled all over my feet. The burning pain made my eyes well up with tears. "Ah, it hurts, husband. Take me to the hospital quickly." It happened so suddenly that Silas Shun was also shocked. He hurriedly helped me up, and seeing my scalded red feet, he apologized to me distressedly. "I'm sorry, honey, I was too excited just now. I'll take you there now. Why are you going? It's Chinese New Year. Who would go to a place as unlucky as a hospital? It's just a few splashes of soup. Don't be so hypocritical. Just apply some medicine and it will be fine. Silas Shun, who was about to hold me, froze and instantly let go of my hand after hearing what my mother-in-law said. Until this moment, I really couldn't bear it anymore, and tears of grievance blurred my vision. I stood up slowly, endured the severe pain, and limped back to the room. Silas Shun stretched out his hand, and finally took it back. I simply treated my injured foot and went to the living room. There was no one there, and the ground was covered with soup and vegetable leaves. They left without saying a word, and wanted me to clean up the mess. I have suggested hiring a nanny for our family before, but my mother-in-law refused to agree. She said that according to their local custom, the daughter-in-law does the laundry and cooking during the new year, and she didn't want to be laughed at by the villagers. I thought that a year was only a few days long and it would pass if I just endured. I smiled at myself, thinking that I, a rich lady, had fallen to such a state of being unwelcome in my husband's family. If you tell it to others, no one will believe it. I don't want to live like this anymore. Around 10 o'clock in the evening, I was awakened by the pain and severe headache. I knew I had an infection and a fever and needed to see a doctor. Silas Shun hadn't come back yet, and the only car in the house was also driven away by him. I took out my cell phone and called him. Esme answered the phone. Sister-in-law. My brother is drunk and has fallen asleep in my room. I could sense Esme's strong sarcasm in her words. Esme is the daughter of my mother-in-law's best friend. After her best friend passed away, she took Esme to live with them at home. I had already seen Esme's feelings for Silas Shun, but no one pointed it out. I said cruelly, Esme, you are so despicable. Then he hung up the phone. After a while, I received a photo sent by Esme. The two of them were lying on the bed with their upper bodies naked, hugging each other tightly. It turned out that they had been hooking up with each other long before I knew it. No wonder Silas Shun favors Esme so much. That scene made my eyes red. I smiled bitterly and took a taxi back to the hospital in the city that night. I also called my mother and asked her to wait for me in the hospital. After arriving at the hospital, my mother's eyes turned red with heartache when she saw how miserable I was. How did it get like this? Where is Silas Shun? I told my parents the whole story. The usually good-tempered father was furious and stormed out. This bastard, if I see him, I will break his dog legs. In the ward, the doctor aunt looked at me with eyes full of pity. Why didn't you come earlier when you got burned like this? The wound is already infected. If you use medicine, the baby in your belly, aunt. Use the medicine. Child, I don't want it anymore. Silas Shun yet, and looked at me in surprise. Nova, you went through so much trouble to get this child. How can you just say you don't want her? Listen to Nova. Just use the medicine. Mom sighed and agreed with my decision. Lying on the operating table, I felt something being pulled out of my body, and my mind went blank in an instant. The nurse showed me the bloody, newly formed fetus. My heart felt like it was being held back by something and it hurt so much that I couldn't breathe. This is my first child, and he was taken away from his life before he even had a chance to see this time. What a pity. How should we deal with this little guy? The nurse's words brought me back to my senses. I thought about it for a moment and said with difficulty, please keep it for me first. I will take it to bury it later. If Silas Shun's mother knew that I beat my child, a boy, I don't know how crazy she would be. During the 3 days I was in the hospital, Silas Shun didn't call me at all, and I didn't take the initiative to look for him. I was discharged from the hospital and returned home. Just as I prepared the divorce agreement, Silas Shun called me. Wife, where have you been these days? How do you think about the thing my mother mentioned? I searched my mind and remembered that he was talking about giving the manager position to Esme. We haven't been in touch for so many days. Not only does he not care about my injury, but he always thinks about Esme. What's the point of a man who no longer puts me first? Give up on that idea. I won't agree to it. After I finished speaking, I ignored Silas Shun's questioning on the other end of the phone and hung up the phone. The next afternoon, just after I chose the site for my son's grave, Silas Shun called me again. Silas Shun was panicking just from his rapid breathing. Nova. It's fine that you ran away from home during the Chinese New Year, But what do you mean by sending me a divorce agreement? I know I was wrong to hurt you that day, but you shouldn't have talked back to your mother like that and caused her to have a heart attack. When will you come back to apologize to Mom? Listening to Silas Shan's words, I smiled indifferently. I'm busy with my confinement. My aunt said that even if you have a miscarriage, you should still take care of yourself during the confinement period to minimize the damage to your body. Silas Shan was obviously stunned. What do you mean? You beat the child on your own initiative. Yeah, I'm going to divorce you. Why would I give birth to a child? Jiang Nova, you bastard. Why did you beat up my grandson? My mother-in-law's roar almost broke my eardrums. Why doesn't my daughter want to have children? It's all your fault. Nova was burned and got inflamed and had a fever. Does anyone in your family care? Dad also retorted angrily. Humph, you can't beat the child no matter what. Just wait and see how I deal with you. After saying those harsh words, my mother-in-law hung up the phone. It is true that poor mountains and bad waters produce unruly people. What kind of people are they? If they hadn't had our help, would they have been able to live like this? They really don't know how to repay a favor. At first, my father didn't agree with me being with Silas Shan, saying that he was not the right person for me. I was so lovesick at the time that I wanted to get married even after she died. I almost severed my relationship with my father. Silas Shan also suffers from asthenospermia. I conceived that child after 6 attempts of in vitro fertilization. Mom and Dad, I'm sorry. I made you worry. Mom sighed. Let the past be forgotten. Now we just hope you can get a divorce soon and leave that family. Mom and Dad, don't worry. I'm determined to divorce this time. Not long after, Silas Shan's family came over from the countryside. As soon as my mother-in-law came in, she walked into my room cursing. As soon as he came, he raised his hand and wanted to slap me. You bitch. Do you think you can get rid of my Shan family's offspring just because you want to? Return my grandson to me right now. My mother-in-law grew up in the countryside and is a typical rural woman. Her arrogance and unreasonableness were fully demonstrated in her. My mother-in-law's slap didn't hit me in the face, but my father pushed me to the ground. She just sat on the ground and started crying. It's really unfair that the rich are bullying us poor people. My eldest grandson, whom I have yet to meet. Grandma is no longer able to avenge you. My father almost died from my mother-in-law's disturbance. Silas Shan, who was hiding aside and dared not say a word, he became even angrier. My heart was heaving up and down, and I finally felt better after my mother comforted me many times. Silas Shan has always been afraid of my father. When he wanted to marry me, he suffered a lot from him. He lowered his head, like a child who had made a mistake, hiding in the corner, not daring to make a sound or step forward to help his mother. I knew he was a bit of a coward, but I didn't expect him to be so irresponsible. How could I fall in love with such a man? Silas Shan. Sign the divorce agreement and take your mother away. I don't want to see you again. When my mother-in-law heard me say I wanted a divorce, she stood up suddenly. I don't agree to divorce. Why do you want a divorce for no reason? You two are divorced. Where can I live in such a big house? After the mother-in-law finished speaking, she realized that she had said the wrong thing, so she just shut up and her eyes became vague. She was right. Silas Shan's previous home was just an ordinary rural family. After I married him, I gave his family a big villa to live in and made him the president of the company, and I stepped back and helped him. Not only were they not grateful to me, they also acted like I was trying to curry favor with them. Silas Shan stepped forward, took my hand, his eyes full of pleading. Wife. It doesn't matter if we beat the child, we can still have another one. Let's not get divorced. Okay, I apologize to you for the stupid things I did before. Silas Shan. Don't beg her. You can divorce her, but you have to transfer this villa and the company to our family. Otherwise we will sue you in court and bring your family to ruin. I was so angry that I laughed at my mother-in-law's words. I've seen shameless people, but I've never seen anyone so shameless. These are the assets my parents gave me before marriage. Why should I give them to them? They are so greedy and crazy about money. Sure, as long as you can successfully sue, I will give it all to you. Silas Shan stayed in my room and refused to leave. Finally, my father had to use some force to drive him away. He left with a bruised face. But within 2 days, such a hot search appeared on the internet. a heartless rich girl, keeping a gigolo, having multiple abortions, and even kicking her husband and his family out of the house in the middle of winter. The pictures below tell the truth. There are many comments from netizens below, and the most common one is about how rich people look down on poor people. He also said that I had lost my humanity and was not worthy of being a human being. Dad accidentally saw these comments and was so angry that he rushed to the company, called all shareholders and senior management to hold a meeting. Silas Shun was also called to participate. He couldn't help feeling nervous when he saw his father, who rarely showed up at the company. He has been trying every possible way to get my forgiveness these days, but I ignored him and simply wouldn't let him into the house. Although he was scared, he tried to remain calm and greeted his father respectfully. Dad glanced at him and said nothing. After the meeting started, Dad first talked about the company's situation and the appointment of an acting president. At this moment, Silas Shun forgot all the previous unpleasantness, sat upright, and was full of pride. His current position is vice president. According to normal procedures, he must be the acting president. But he did not receive the good news of appointment, but heard the words of dismissal. I hereby declare that, effective immediately, Vice President Silas Shun will be dismissed and will never be hired again. Silas Shun looked up suddenly, shocked. Dad, why did you fire me? I was doing very well. Humph, you are not qualified to negotiate with me. You are no longer my son-in-law, Jiang Hong, so you are no longer qualified to be the president. After saying this, Dad left the meeting room with a cold face. Silas Shun was left there beating his chest and stamping his feet, at a loss. The sun is shining brightly today and I am leaning against the bed to bask in the sun. The phone rang. It was an unfamiliar number. I didn't think much about it and just pressed the answer button. Nova, can you please talk to my dad and ask him not to fire me? I will treat you well in the future. And I will also fire Esme and return everything that originally belonged to you. I really can't live without that job. And I can't live without you. I was speechless at Silas Shun's words. I no longer have any love for him and just want to divorce him as soon as possible. As long as you sign the divorce agreement, I will consider asking for mercy on your behalf. I can't guarantee whether he agrees or not. After hearing what I said, Silas Shun spoke angrily. Jiang Nova, I will never divorce you unless you give me the company and the villa. So, you saved me and did everything you could to please me before. Just for my property. No, it isn't, Silas Shun flatly denied. I tried to please you because I really love you. Since you love me, then do as I wish and sign as soon as possible. If you refuse to sign, you will receive a court summons. After hanging up the phone, I was so angry that I deleted all of Silas Shun's contact information. I never thought that all the emotional investment I had made over the years was just a scam. How come he is usually so smart? But after meeting Silas Shun, his head seems to be filled with water. Esme sent me another message, and I clicked it to read. After reading that report, I laughed. Divorce provides another bargaining chip. 5 days later, I was summoned to court. I haven't even remembered to file a lawsuit yet, but they sued me first. After not seeing him for a few days, Silas Shun looked much more haggard. When my mother-in-law saw me, she glared at me for a few times and then acted pitifully to the judge. Your Honor, please help our family. It was this cruel woman who aborted my grandson without permission. That was a human life. Murder is against the law. You should arrest her quickly. After she finished speaking, she burst into tears and looked so miserable. Since she doesn't know what's good for her and wants a divorce, let her leave the house with nothing. She will get nothing. Judge, now that we are all here, please issue a verdict immediately. I laughed again at my mother-in-law's tone. How stupid and arrogant she is. Still coveting my family's property. When we got married, Silas Shun signed a prenuptial agreement to express his true love for me. He is certain that he will treat me well all his life, but if we end up in court in the future, he will be kicked out of the house without a penny. I asked my attorney to hand the agreement to the judge, along with the provocative pictures Esme sent me and the pregnancy certificate. After reading the evidence, the judge banged the hammer. Quiet. I have collected favorable evidence. Silas Shun has been sentenced to leave the house. My mother-in-law was stunned by the verdict. No, Your Honor, it was that bitch who killed my grandson. Besides, The company and the house are their joint property. Why should my son leave the house empty-handed? That's because your son had already given up this right before his marriage, so your objection is invalid. She originally thought she had a chance of winning by suing me, but unexpectedly, they were the ones who were defeated miserably. In the end, the mother-in-law couldn't accept it and fainted on the spot. Silas Shun ran to me in a panic, took my hand and begged, "Nova, please, I don't want to divorce you." I shook his hand off harshly. "Silas Shun, as a man you must be responsible. Since Esme is pregnant with your child, you must treat her well and don't let me look down on you." Silas Shun was stunned and asked anxiously, "Child? How could Esme and I have a child?" "Brother Silas Shun, is this the end?" Esme, who arrived late, asked with a puzzled look on her face. Seeing Esme, Silas Shun obviously saw a life-saving straw. You're here just in time. Tell your sister-in-law right away that there's no way we could have a child." Esme's eyes dodged, she lowered her head, and bit her lip. "Brother Silas Shun, I'm really pregnant with your child." Silas Shun heard it. He staggered back 2 steps and shook his head. "No, it's impossible. How could you be pregnant with my child?" Esme stepped forward and took Silas Shun's hand. "Brother Silas Shun, have you forgotten that night when you were drunk? I didn't want to listen to the argument between them, so I walked away." Silas Shun wanted to step forward to keep me, but was entangled by Esme. "I know very well that the child Esme is pregnant with is definitely not Silas Shun's. Let them deal with it themselves." After my induced abortion, I took a month off before returning to work. As soon as I entered the office, Esme came to the door. "Jiang Nova, why did you fire me? I applied for the job through formal procedures." I sneered. "How did you get in the first place? Don't you have any idea of what's going on? Also, all the achievements you made were made on my behalf." Esme was furious. "That was given to me by Brother Silas Shun. It belongs to me. You have no right to take it back. The company belongs to me. Do you think I have the right to decide?" Bitch, don't get complacent too soon. Just wait for me." Looking at Esme's back as she left in anger, I smiled and shook my head. I'm curious to see what kind of splash she can make. A few days later, Esme, with a bruised face and nose, was lying on the hospital bed and doing a live broadcast. "Hello, everyone. I used to be a designer at Tianhong Company. They fired me for no reason. I went to the company to argue, but the person in charge beat me up like this. Is there any law in this situation?" Esme said this while wiping her tears, looking very pitiful. Esme has nothing to do. She likes to post some fashion tips online. After she joined our company, Silas Shun took extra care of her and gave her many honors that did not belong to her. These became her capital for showing off, and she accumulated a wave of fans. Fans began to get angry. "Sisters, let us call on everyone to stop capitalists from exploiting their employees. How can there be such a boss in the world? The employees have contributed so much to the company, but they get such a result. It is really chilling." I looked through all the comments of the young lady. Damn, the young lady is amazing. She created so much profit for the company. Not only did the company not show gratitude, but they also fired her. They are really unscrupulous capitalists. I can't keep up with the pop-ups in the live broadcast room. Esme knew that her trick worked. She was secretly happy and kept wiping tears from her face. "I actually didn't want to do this. I was just reflecting this situation because I know there must be many sisters who have been treated unfairly like this." Her remarks aroused empathy from many netizens. The discussion became more lively. The live broadcast room was instantly full, and it became a hot topic not long after, when I saw it. The number of views had exceeded 10 million. "Isn't she very good at playing pitiful to gain sympathy? Then I might as well give her a helping hand." I also started a live broadcast, and played the recordings and videos of Silas Shun begging me to give the honor that belonged to me to Esme. Silas Shun's fault that she was beaten and hospitalized. The seed in her belly was not Silas Shun's, so I released it all. Esme was still smugly playing the victim. The direction of the comments in her live broadcast room changed. "Humph, you bitch who is trying to gain sympathy by playing the victim. Please stop polluting the atmosphere of society." That's right. I felt sorry for her and sympathized with her at the beginning. It turns out she is a green tea girl. Not only did she steal someone else's credit, She also stole someone else's husband. What's even worse is that she got herself pregnant by someone else outside. And she framed the husband for it. Dead green tea. Decisively unfollow. Esme was so angry with netizens that she turned off the live broadcast. Her face was full of ferocity, and she gritted her teeth and said, "Jiang Nova, don't be complacent, just wait for me." I smiled smugly as I watched netizens scold Esme and call her worthless. Silas Shun, once my evidence was released, he also suffered, looking at the unbearable abuse on the internet. Silas Shun was so angry that he smashed his phone, but he still came to me. That day, I just got off work and walked out of the door when he blocked my way. He pushed me into the car regardless of my resistance. I was very annoyed and kept hitting him hard. "Silas Shun, you are sick, let me go quickly." He didn't listen to me, and with a sullen face, he took me to the river. Listening to the sound of rushing water under my feet, I felt a little panicked. I guessed in my heart that Silas Shun would not sink me into the river to get revenge on me. Silas Shun stared at me, his eyes were full of hatred and grievance. "Nova, I just made a mistake that all men in the world make. Do you really want to kill me?" I was stunned for a moment, then laughed out loud. "Silas Shun, you are so bad, you cheated on me, but you blamed me for everything. You deserve this. If Esme hadn't tarnished my company online, I wouldn't have released those things." Silas Shun listened to this and his tone softened again. "Nova, I have severed ties with Esme and will never see her again. Let's make peace, okay? When I came here, Mom also asked me to apologize to you on her behalf, and even hired a nanny, saying that she would not let you do anything in the future." I sneered. "Silas Shun, am I a fool? Knowing that you are with me only for fame and fortune, how can I still be so shameless as to make peace with you? I didn't get kicked in the head by a donkey. Also, I've divorced you. Don't show up in front of me again, or I'll sue you for sexual harassment." "No, please don't go." Silas Shun took my hand and knelt in front of me with a plop. "Nova, please don't be so heartless to me for the sake of our relationship over the years." I sneered. "Am I heartless? To repay you for saving my life, I married you and gave you endless wealth and status. But what about you? How did you repay me? You favor Esme in every way and give her everything that belongs to me. Your sperm is weak and you can't let me conceive naturally. I've done 6 IVFs and had hundreds of injections. My butt is so swollen that I can't walk. Do you feel bad? On the day of the New Year's Eve dinner, you overturned the table and burned my feet in order to seek an explanation from your mother. Did you care enough to take me to the hospital? You didn't. After all these things, you still have the nerve to say you love me and ask for my forgiveness. I'm sorry, but I'm not a saint. I can't do this." After listening to all my questions, Silas Shun regretted it so much that he shed tears. He slapped himself hard. "Nova, I'm sorry. I didn't realize I was such a jerk before. Silas Shun was interrupted by Esme, who suddenly appeared before he could finish his words. "Jiang Nova, you bitch, you hurt me so badly. Just die." After she yelled, she ran towards me with her arms open. Before I could react, she grabbed me by the neck and said, "I let you be so proud. Go to hell." Esme had gone crazy at this time. When she looked at me, her eyes were full of hatred and her gnashing teeth looked scary. She held my neck tightly, and I couldn't speak. I could only struggle desperately. Silas Shun, who was still kneeling on the ground, was shocked by Esme's ferocity. After realizing what was happening, he rushed over and tried to pull Esme's hand away. "Esme, what are you doing? Let Nova go. You're going to strangle her to death." "Ha ha 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 ha." Esme laughed wildly. "I'm here to kill her today. Don't try to stop me." During the struggle between the two, I was saved. But both of them fell into the river. Esme couldn't swim and had lost vital signs when she was rescued. Silas Shun was sent to the ICU. He was lucky and managed to survive. But after being in the water for too long, I lost my hearing. He became like this because he saved me. In order not to owe him anything, I gave him a large sum of compensation. As I turned to leave the ward, my ex-mother-in-law came. When she saw me, her eyes were like knives and she wanted to hit me right away. By Silas Shun. "Mom, what are you doing? Don't you think it's shameful enough?" The ex-mother-in-law didn't expect Silas Shun to stop her from beating me. And she sat directly on the ground and burst into tears. What sin have I committed in my life? I have no grandchildren, and my only son can no longer hear. How can an old woman like me live alone in the future? Her crying attracted passers-by to watch. I know her character. No matter how big the matter is, she will not stop until she turns the matter upside down. While she was distracted, I walked out of the ward. Her crying was getting farther and farther away from me. Later I heard that she was mumbling all day long, became mentally ill, and was sent to a mental hospital. Silas Shun was discharged from the hospital. He returned to his hometown in the countryside. As for how his life was like in the future, I no longer paid attention to it. Today is my son's death anniversary, and I brought a bouquet of flowers to see him. I saw a bouquet of flowers placed in front of his tombstone. I subconsciously looked around, only to see a thin figure walking away. No need to guess, I know who it is. What's the point of regretting until you lose something? Where I couldn't see, Silas Shun tried hard to wipe the tears from the corners of his eyes. After he lost his hearing, he knew he was no longer worthy of me, and he didn't have the face to appear in front of me again. It took him a lot of effort to find his son's grave. He would visit his son every now and then and confess his sins to him. If he hadn't been such a jerk back then, his son would be babbling now. He is still the respected Mr. Shun in the company, enjoying endless wealth and glory, but everything is too late now, and repentance delayed is the cheapest. After leaving Silas Shun, I lived my original life as a young lady. I also managed the company in an orderly manner. As a human being, there is no need to force yourself to do anything. No matter how difficult or easy life is, focus on making yourself happy.